Hi everyone, welcome to our video series Donald Physiotherapy Cares. Today we're going to do a segment called Active Seniors. We're going to start out with a little bit of a warm-up, then we're going to get into some strength and balance exercises. Everybody ready? Let's go! Alright, here we go with our warm-up. We're going to start out with a little bit of a marching exercise just to get our legs warmed up. So we're going to march, we're going to get your knee up nice and high, and then we're just going to alternate sides. So we can bring our arms forward, making sure we're doing opposite arm with the opposite leg. So that's it. We'll keep marching. Keep your upper body nice and tall. That's it. Great job. All right. Now we're going to move into something called butt kicks. So we're going to go turn to our side, and we start bringing our heel up towards our bum. Again, we can bring the opposite arm forward as we do a leg. So just trying to kick that heel up towards your bum as high as you can. Don't really force it, but just trying to bring it up as high as you can just so we can get those legs warmed up a little bit. All right, good job. Now we're going to point our toes to the sky. So we just reach our foot forward, pull our toes up, and then bring it back. Same thing with the other side. We're going to pull our toes up, bring it back. Okay, so we're bringing our toes up towards us. You should feel a little bit of a pull in the back of your calf muscle. Good, we'll do a few more on each side. Good, really pull those toes up now that we're starting to get warm. That's it, keep pulling them up. Pull a little bit more. And we'll go one more on each side. All right, great job. Now we'll start to warm up our upper body a little bit. We'll get into some twists. So we're going to start with little arms, or what I call alligator arms, and then we're just going to rotate back and forth each side. Just starting to go bigger and bigger twists each time. Okay, if you have any pain at all, don't push into the pain. Remember, we're just doing a warm-up. We're not really stretching anything right now. Okay, now we can start to bring those arms out a little bit longer. So we'll bring the arms out nice and long. Again, just a nice big twist as much as you can within comfort. And we're rotating back and forth. Good. Now we can start to bring the arms in a circle again. Just go as high as you can within comfort. If it bothers your shoulders at all, then just do a little smaller circle. We want to go as big as we can. Add a little bit of speed to it. That's it, get them nice and warm, and then we can go the opposite direction. So again, we can start fairly slow, small circles, then we can go slow, big circles. Good, and we start going a little bit faster with them. That's it, great job. Good. All right, let's move into a little bit more strengthening. First one we're going to work on is what's called a reverse fly. This can be done either with or without weights. If you want to add just a little bit of weight to it, you can use something light like soup cans. They tend to be in that pound and a half range, or we can move up into a little heavier weights, but it can also be done without any weights at all. So a couple different positions we can do it from. One is we can do a bit of a tilted forward position. So we would just push our bum straight back. So again, we've got our chest up. And then we're going to flap our arms just like where it's a bird flying through the air. So the arms come up and then down. Okay, we don't worry about going too high with them. Just up so that they're about even with our body. Really squeeze those shoulder blades together as you get to the top. So we squeeze those shoulder blades together and then bringing them down. Okay. Second option with that exercise is we can do it from a sitting position where we would be just towards the front edge of a chair. Now we can lean forward again, making sure we don't bend forward, but it's more that lean forward where we can keep the chest up. And then same idea, we flap the arms, really squeezing those shoulder blades together, just like that bird flying through the air. Okay, nice big arc of movement. Don't worry about going real high with them though. Okay, and really squeeze those shoulder blades together at the top. Okay. Now we can move down onto the floor. If you have troubles getting up and down off of the floor, this exercise is fine to do on a bed. That's no problem at all. I'm going to demonstrate it here on the floor. So we're going to bring it down. Again, we'll do a couple different positions. First one we can start with is just with our knees bent, feet flat on the floor, arms are down beside us. And we're going to bring your chin towards your chest, and then your chest towards your belly button. So we're looking at our belly button. From there, we do a side bend. So we're going to bring our shoulder down towards our hip, and then we just alternate sides. Okay, keep that chin tucked in. That'll help be easier on the neck. So we just go back and forth looking at that belly button the whole time. Okay, if we find that that's a little too easy, we can bring the legs up in the air. So we bring them up so that our hips are bent 90 degrees, knees are bent 90 degrees. I always like to cross the ankles. Doesn't matter which way you cross them. And then from there, the rest of it's all the same. Chin to chest, chest to belly button. And then we're just going back and forth, bringing the shoulders down towards our hips. Trying to keep our legs nice and still. We want to make sure they're not really whipping back and forth. They stay nice and still. And we're just doing that sideways movement, making sure we keep that chin tucked. Okay, so real nice exercise, strengthening some of those abdominal muscles. Again, can either be done on the floor or in a bed. Okay, moving on. We're going to move into a step-up exercise. So we can do this if we have a little aerobic step like this, even if you have a little kitchen stool, kitchen step. You can try varying heights. This is about a 4 to 6 inch step. Normal household step tends to be around that 7-inch range. So somewhere in that 4 to 7 range is usually about right for this exercise. So the key with a step up, again, with many of these exercises is the knee position. So we can get our foot up on the step. The big key here is that we don't want our knee to travel forward past our toes, and we don't want it to go sideways, either in or out. We want to make sure that knee stays over top of the foot. A nice little cue that I'll often use that works well is to really think about putting the weight through your heel. So we can get the foot up onto the stool, really push through the heel, resist the temptation to push with this leg. A lot of people want to vault themselves up with that back leg. We want the foot that's on the step to do all the work. So we get the foot on the step, we really push through that heel, coming up, and then we can come all the way forward. Okay? So if we've got a step like this where we can actually do the step down portion, that's great. So we get to here, really push through the heel, coming up, and then nice and controlled on the way down. Okay, so we would do 10 repetitions on each leg. Doing 10 on one, then we can switch to the other one. Same idea, really push through the heel as we come up onto the step, and then we can do our step down. If you're just using, say, a basement step or a step up to the second level of the house, we could do the step up, and then we would just have you turn around, keeping that same foot on the step, and then doing our step down. Okay? So again, usually we want to shoot for about 10 repetitions on each side. Now we can get into more of a bridging exercise. So with this one, again, we've got a couple different levels of it that we can do. We can go off the floor, or if need be, you can do it on your bed. Keys here is we want to keep your feet in nice and close to you. The further your feet are away, the harder the exercise is going to be. So we want to keep the feet in nice and close. You can either have your hands just resting on your chest or down at your side. I prefer having them up on the chest. And then again, much like with the step up, we really push through the heels. So the key here is really push through the heels, lift that bum up, and then come back down nice and slow. So it's just a little bit of a pause at the top of the movement. So we push through the heels, coming all the way up, all the way back down. Okay, again, real nice, slow, controlled movement, and back down. Now, if we're finding that that's a little too easy, we can move to a one-legged bridge. So now we bring one leg straight out, so we have our knees at the same height, and we're going to keep those at the same height. We really push through our heel again as we lift our bum up nice and high, and then down nice and slow. Okay, so I always like to keep the knees at the same height throughout the whole movement. Really pushing through the heel. Resist the temptation to push with your elbows or with your hands. They're just there to rest. We can try a few on each leg. So really push through the heel, back down nice and slow, and up. Okay, so again, we want to shoot for about 10 on each side. Real great exercise. Again, can be done either on the floor or no problem of doing it just in bed. All right, let's continue with a couple more exercises. The first one we're going to do is just work on our balance. So a few different versions of it that we can do depending on how easy or hard that we want to make it. Most basic version of it is we just simply stand on one foot, and we're just trying to stand as still as we can for 15 seconds. Okay, if need be, we can put the arms out to the side just to give us that extra little bit of balance, or we can have them resting down at your side, whichever you're more comfortable with. Okay, so we would shoot for 15 seconds. Then we'd switch over to the other side. Same idea, just trying to stay nice and still, trying to hold it as best you can for that 15 seconds. Just like that. Okay? Now, if we want to make it a little bit more difficult, a big portion of our balance comes from our vision. So if we can take away the vision component of it, then it really challenges that balance quite a bit more. So the start position is exactly the same. Weight is on one foot, standing on that foot. Now we close our eyes, and again, we're trying to hold it for that 15-second time frame, trying to stay as still as we can. Okay, then we can alternate to that other side. Same idea, start with the eyes open. As you get comfortable, then we can close them, trying to hold it as still as we can, seeing if we can make it to our 15 seconds. Okay. Now, if we want to make it a little bit more difficult, we can stand on something soft, which helps simulate uneven ground or walking on some different surfaces. So at home, we can just use a ordinary pillow, couch cushion, whatever you got handy. We can do it with the pillow flat, or we can fold it up. By folding it up is going to make it a little bit more difficult because it's going to be a little bit thicker and a little bit cushier. Okay, so we get our pillow down on the floor, then everything else is the same. We can start out with eyes open, simply just trying to balance on that foot as best we can. Again, we're shooting for our 15-second time frame. If we want to make it harder, we just close our eyes. And again, seeing if we can hold it for up to that 15 seconds. Okay, and then of course we want to try it on each side. So again, starting out with eyes open, seeing how steady we can stay, then we can progress to eyes closed. Okay. Now, a little more dynamic balance exercise we can do is the star exercise. So all the weight goes onto one foot, really making sure that we keep that knee over top of the foot. We don't want the knee to move in or out on us. We don't want it to move too far ahead of our toes. And then what we do with the other foot is we touch the different points of the star. Okay, so we can reach forward, touch the top of the star, then we can touch the back, we can reach to the side, and then we can reach to the other side. Okay, all the while trying to keep that leg as still as we can, keeping the knee over top of our foot. Okay, if you find that quite challenging and you need a little extra something for support, you can use a broomstick or a cane or whatever you have handy. We can use that. We don't want to rely on it, so we don't want to really push it into the ground. We just have it just above the ground, just in case we need it there. And then we can do our different positions. Okay, so forward, back, to each side. We would do 10 repetitions on one leg. Then we can switch over, doing the same on the other leg, where we do our forward, back, and then to each side. Okay, and again, doing 10 repetitions on each side.